Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for attending this Adult Learning and Skills webinar. We'll be focusing today on marketing of adult skills courses and sharing some insight and tactics from multiple campaigns that can have run over the past few months and years. In terms of what we're going to be looking at, adult learning manifests itself in different locations in many different ways. There are sort of general courses, often open to older audiences, things around language, things around various skills, arts, and so on. But then there are also more specific forms of adult learning around productivity, for example, or increasing productivity in an area, for example, multiply, enabling people to switch to higher value or higher productivity careers. And there are also training programs linked to regional industrial policy, for example, increasing skills in sustainable energy implementation, battery tech, and so on. And the reason we're putting this series of webinars together is to help you improve course fill rates. So where some people there are lower than desired amounts of people attending courses, the function of what we're doing is to get those to 80+% fill rates, to then ensure that the policies that our organisations are asking us to fulfil have the impact and the desired impact, but also that the people who we intend to benefit from this benefit at scale, and therefore the social and economic outcomes happen faster. But our particular focus is on reducing that cost per sign up, that cost per application to sign up. And the tactics that we're going to share with you are fairly common in all of these applications. So we hope that from attending today or looking at this webinar in the future, you'll come away with at least one thing you can implement and maybe one thing you can stop. It's all well and good having lots of good new ideas, but if you don't stop doing some of the ineffective things, you end up with more work and potentially not getting any further any faster. We believe it's a public sector superpower to share, and sharing what goes on enables us all to get better at the same time. So that's the idea behind today. And today we'll be looking in at reducing cost per sign up, and what that actually means, looking at your estate and user experience, and also at advertising technology, and hoping to help you understand how critical that is to delivering successful low-cost campaigns. So I apologise if we're teaching you to suck eggs here, but the cost per sign up is something that we often find people aren't actually aware of for previous campaigns. So your total marketing spend divided by the total course sign-ups. And that's marketing spend, including creative, including UX design, and obviously including media spend. So being aware of this is really important. And being able to demonstrate that you're reducing this over time is also really important. So how do we go about doing that? Well, the main factors that we've encountered from running many tens of campaigns in adult learning, the first thing you need to focus on is the sign-up user experience. If this is subpar, all the good work you do at the amplification stage is likely to be not quite wasted, but not have the best landing. It also means, particularly if you've got training and skills development targeted at people who may not have English as a first language, or struggle with basic language skills, your sign-up process could be a significant barrier to exactly the sort of people that you want to help. So keeping it simple, improving that is really important. Also, a big thing that increases cost per sign up is use of channels that don't really deliver a measurable outcome or deliver a really high cost per sign up. And that's normally the guilty parties there are broadcast channels. Things like radio out of home, things like that are really tricky to measure a correlatory increase in course sign-ups. That doesn't mean they have no value, but it means it's hard to justify investing in them. And another area where we see huge room for improvement is around the use of owned channels, particularly the council estate, web, email, and out home that our subject matter expert, Dan, is going to go into in a little bit more detail shortly. So to zoom in on sign up and that user experience, things that we have encountered that often get in the way are things like having to sign up for a My account or a Council My account before you even get to expressing interest in a course. Another common problem is to ask too many questions or collect too much information at that stage. Understanding people's ethnicity, understanding various factors about previous qualifications, not essential to getting a qualified sign up. And there are also common restrictions on .gov.uk or public sector websites, which mean that sometimes you're putting too much information before people. The layout doesn't work particularly well on mobile. And these, again, are really important barriers to iron out before you get going. Now, often ironing out internally can take months or maybe even years. So creating small off-site user experiences seems to be the way to go. But if you don't get this sorted, anything else that you do afterwards will be far less effective. Talked about channel benchmarking, and we'll send out these slides afterwards. But you've got your sort of owned and your paid channels. With owned channels, you have very low cost, relatively high reach, relatively good measurability. So they should always be incorporated, and Dan will take us through some of that in a moment. But in terms of on paid channels, you can see how where we've got lots of reds, we've got low measurability, a common problem, turnaround time, tricky, relatively medium to high costs per thousand. So, that would impact your cost per sign up, relatively medium to high frequency. So you might be able to get to someone once, but you need to get to people multiple times in order to improve that. And then there are strengths and weaknesses around the ability to target and the percentage of the target audience reached. But the revolution in online media buying has meant that there is now a low cost, highly targeted, highly measurable, high frequency approach to putting your campaigns in front of people, which is why we recommend that the vast majority of your budget is invested in online and programmatic advertising. But I wanted now to hand over to Dan. Dan's worked in a number of councils and has helped them marshal their estates into shape so that they can be used for a whole array of public sector campaigns, but particularly supporting local economic objectives. So Dan, can I hand over to you to talk a little bit about the owned channels within council estates?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, JP, and good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us on this webinar. I'm going to focus on three areas of low or no cost powerful ways that really can help you boost your campaign performances. So firstly, we're going to touch on and talk about ads in emails. So we know that many local councils regularly send out e-newsletters and updates to residents. So at CAN, our team now, we've started to work with local councils to integrate adverts seamlessly in newsletter emails. It works similarly within our and how we operate our website advertising. So we provide a simple code that's created an ad space at the head of the newsletter template, and then we run your campaign creatives. So this ensures that campaigns are seen by residents who are actively engaged with council communications. It's a completely new service to what we offer, and we offer this for free. And by including your adverts in these emails, you can directly reach the inbox of targeted audiences. This has the potential to generate thousands more interactions for your campaigns at no cost. And for any campaign that you do run, you will receive a live reporting on your metrics, such as your impressions and interactions, I should say, sorry. And to start with, we're only focusing and we're only basing this and running council-owned campaigns and nothing commercial at all. I'm going to touch on to website advertising. So again, council websites receive a significant amount of traffic from residents looking for information such as your community events, services, news. Ad placements here, including leaderboards and MPUs, are displayed to ensure that there's maximum visibility. Again, the adverts are strategically placed to capture the attention of the visitors without disrupting any user experience. So if you're not a network partner and you're not sure how it works, there are a couple of strands here to display in the ads on websites. Firstly, using our free ad tech gives councils the ability to place your own campaigns for no charge in front of your local audience. Secondly, it can help generate additional income for councils by placing commercial advertising on agreed pages. The income then that's generated from there can either be used to offset any costs or reinvested back using and via our media buying service that we do offer. If you are a partner and running some adverts on your website and not completely sure or don't know what to do in terms of to run your own adverts, please do reach out, let me know, and we'll be more than happy to get this space utilized for your own campaigns. The benefits here for both websites and emails, several advantages. So it's a targeted reach. Your adverts reach a local audience who are likely interested in continuing their education or acquiring new skills. This will help reduce your cost per sign-ups and reduce your waste. Excuse me. There's a high engagement, so residents are actively looking for information, which makes them more receptive to your advert. It's a completely free of charge service to use. And also, again, live reporting, we're providing a dashboard to show how many times your campaign is served and how it's performing. Sorry. Lastly, I just wanted to touch on and utilising any out-of-home estates that you do have. And that could be in the form of bus shelters, both paper and digital, large formats with 48 sheet paper and digital, freestanding units, 6-sheet paper and digital roundabouts or lamppost banners. So out of home on council land is great for generating income for the local authority, and we're talking tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pounds a year. But the channels can be expensive when purchasing the media space. But if you do have any of the examples I've just mentioned and touched on the council land, depending on who your contract is with, or if you have a contract at all, I would definitely recommend seeking out the contract holder within your organisation. If it isn't you, ask them if there's free comms space assigned. There should be an element, I think, of free campaign space within your contract for the comms team to utilise. If you're at the stage where you don't have an out-of-home estate, whether that's digital or paper, or you're developing the idea to take to market, I also think that it's important to have council-free messaging defined in your spec right from the get-go. We are producing some work with other local councils to assess their current contracts that they've got for their out-of-home and to help them get ready to take to market to generate income. But from my experience, councils need to utilise these challenges. They're very powerful tools, and they will help amplify your messages and also save you money. If you do want a conversation, please do drop me an email. There's absolutely no obligation whatsoever. We want to help you. We want to help things get better, and I'd be more than happy to talk through anything that's needed. So thank you.
Brilliant, Dan. Thank you so much. There is so much opportunity in the owned estate, and I mean, to say even 10% of councils taking advantage of this is probably an overestimate. So it's something that we are a bit specialist in but any council should be doing when running these campaigns. Hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of free impressions in that estate, which put at the top of the funnel reach and frequency in front of audiences that are highly likely to engage with you. So yes, please do speak to Dan if that's something you want to do. I wanted to do a little bit on ad tech. Now, this is a slightly nerdy subject, but one that's incredibly important to reducing the cost per application. So you may have come across remarketing pixels, audience pixels, conversion pixels, or optimization pixels. These names are all correct, and they're all pretty much the same thing. But when you're buying online, and someone, for example, clicks, lands on your site, and then goes away, the remarketing pixel enables you to bring them back. People very rarely go from seeing their first ad to signing up. So having people see something, click, land, and then you're able to then put ads in front of them on Facebook, YouTube, and so on is a really powerful tool. So remarketing is very important. Someone who's expressed an interest, bring them back, nudge them towards signing up. Conversion pixels are very important because they land on the sort of thank you for signing up kind of page, and they're only triggered there. And what that enables you to do is firstly stop remarketing to that individual, but also to send a message back to the platforms to say that whatever you did there, do more of it. And also the platforms can measure people that land and bounce, don't come back, and stop marketing to them. So it basically helps you reduce waste, this idea of remarketing and then a trigger at that point of conversion. And that really enables you over time to then optimize. Without remarketing and conversion pixels in place, you can't reduce your cost per sign up as fast as someone that does. So it's a really essential part of campaign infrastructure. It's one of those things, sometimes you think we need to get the ads right, and then we need to buy lots of it, and then, oh, nothing happens. If you haven't got your user experience sorted, you haven't got your own channels, and you don't have your ad tech in place, your likely cost per sign up is going to be really high. And just to sort of back this up, these are two organizations, very similar location, similar audiences. One without ad tech and one with ad tech. And you can see that the one without ad tech had to spend 4 times as much as the one below to achieve less of a result. Or another way of putting it is that when you have ad tech, you can achieve about 500 times as much. Sorry, not 500. Sorry, that's way over it. 500% or 5 times as much in terms of outcomes. So this is again why we're focusing on it. It may not be the most exciting part, but it's that plumbing that enables you to really drive down cost per sign up. So to summarize a little bit about what we've been saying, at the UX point, you need to really strip things back and keep things simple landing pages that work on mobile, and we can maybe use large language models to simplify and potentially translate content to reduce that, or to improve the user experience and therefore reduce cost per sign up. Making use of your owned channels and moving away from wasteful broadcast channels towards intercept and nudge channels online is a critical part of your ad buying strategy that will reduce cost per application. And then general principles around avoiding unmeasurable channels, ensuring that the machines and the algorithms are able to optimize for you. That's the using of the pixels. And then using a mixture of machine learning and human intervention to optimize over time and reduce cost per application. So these are the things that we're finding out. And this is some of the data that's helping us refine the mix of channels and approaches that you need to use in order to be more successful. So I just wanted to outline, we've got a wonderful team at Can of AdOps experts, user experience experts, people who are great with data, great with optimization. And you can have a conversation with us without spending any money, without any commitment, which then enables us to help you see where the opportunities for improvement are in your current marketing mix, where there might be bottlenecks. Is it the user experience? Is it the media choice? Then, based on your requirements, and those do vary massively regionally, we would, our colleague Alan, who runs most of our adult learning campaigns, would put together a tailored proposal and plan for you, again at no cost. We'd also have Emily, who's our user experience and adults expert, evaluating your UX and making suggestions. And you would also get some local search insight. So we could tell you what people regionally are already looking for in terms of courses, which can help refine that plan. If, based on all that information, you then decided that you wanted us to help you, in week 5, we would be able to activate your campaign and get it running live across the channels that you've approved. In week 6, you would be able to see the impact of that. So the live reporting, the dashboards, the correlation of the communications interactions with sign-up. And then week 7 and beyond, you'd have Dan and Alan looking at your campaigns, comparing it to other campaigns and optimizing that over time to reduce cost per application as you go. We found that after a couple of months, we find out what works in your area, and a number of councils who work with us who had some courses empty were then running at sort of 80 to 90% full occupancy. So it's something we're very confident about and keen to share with everybody. So I just wanted to thank you for spending your time with us today. I hope you got something useful out of that. Dan is the guy for you to speak to if there's anything you want clarifying, anything that we discussed that you're interested in knowing more about, or if you'd like us to start looking at and benchmarking your existing campaign. Thank you so much again for your time, and hopefully we look forward to speaking to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.